In this video, Dante and I head to Arkansas for the early muzzleloader season. And so far this year, we've been having like a dark cloud over the top of us. Every little thing that could go wrong has. And it's not like I'm complaining because it's still hunting and love every second of it, but it starts to get frustrating. It all started with the trail cameras early in the spring. It's just nonstop, not working. The batteries are dead immediately. There's a couple I went to pick up. That one was 9 miles in, or 4.5 miles in. It was a 9-mile round trip walking, and the camera didn't work, so I had 0 pictures. Then it was another one. It was like a mile and a half way in, and then mile and a half out. Same thing, 0 pics, didn't work. I mean, that's so frustrating. You leave it sit there a year and nothing. And then before we left for the trip, Dante had a really nice 8-pointer. He's drew back. All it had to do was step a couple more steps, and he was gonna release the arrow. And all of a sudden, just stopped and turned and looked. I mean, it was so much brush too where it was at. I didn't know how this thing seen him standing up there. It was just one of those things. It's like, that's one in a million. It should have never busted us. All right, we just got here. We didn't even go to the camp. We just came straight to the lease. Put up a couple cameras. It's 85, sunny, hot. Testing out the stand. We put this here last year, 2 days before we ended up getting over our hunt. We ended up seeing there was $8 that come out of that little creek bottom right there. In that valley, one was really a big shooter. 5 good racked ones, and then 3 spikes or forks. And they were just mingling around, and you could never get a decent shot at them because there were so many of them. Plus there was, I think, half a dozen does or whatever. So there were just too many. That's a good sign. Camera's right there. There's a fresh rub. All right, let's get out of here and do maybe one more on the way out, and then let's go back to the cabin, get set up. It's been a long day, long night. So this is our deer camp for the week. This place is freaking sweet. Dante's room. Mine. Huge bed. Central air blasting. So it's almost 90 down here. Nice bathroom. Kitchen. Washroom. Got a nice porch out there and fire pit and stuff in the back. Yeah, you can't ask for much more out of this is definitely not a old school Yooper deer camp like Whitetail Warriors, but it'll have to do. Day 1. Back at it. We got another camera set. Well, actually 2. And then we gotta make a Walmart run, get some stuff. And then this afternoon, Dante wants to go hog hunting, so we're gonna go sneak up. We got a couple miles of river bottom, a lot of oak and stuff in it on the lease, so a lot of hogs, so we're gonna go and still hunt that. So look at that hog wallow. That is smoking fresh. Well, we just set up spot number 4. Just left. And there's a lot of hog sign around here, so I'm sure they'll be over there at some point too. And look at that sucker right there. That is one ugly SOB. He's got to go. Well, I'm gonna go hog hunting. I don't think you gotta wear blaze orange for hog hunting, but I just don't, it doesn't look like there's anybody around either, but you never know when some hillbilly's in the brush. And I don't mean that derogatory either. Trying to kill something, and we're sneaking around in the swamp with a black and white shirt on. Not real wise. So we got this creek bottom. We're gonna follow that. Wind is pretty much in our face. And then there's two big sloughs back here. A lot of water. Pigs like water, pigs like mud. It's 87 degrees and sunny. I figured that's what it's gonna be. Big timber, so it's shaded around it. So we'll see what happens. And then that damn chuck alarm. Here we're walking in to go hog hunting. We already were in maybe 300-400 yards. Sneaking next to this, over this hill, we're gonna go next to this one first bayou or backwaters. Figuring there was hogs there, and my truck starts blowing up with this alarm. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So then of course, I should have Googled this beforehand, but after that I'm like, I gotta figure this out. Well, here it is, the key fob battery was going dead. Well, that's a hell of a way to alert you to that, huh? You'd think it would just stop working and you had to physically turn the key to open the lock instead of just hitting a button, you know? That would be your telltale sign, right? You would think, but nope, engineering masterpiece right there. Of course, wasn't made for hunters, I guess, in mind. So anyway, what can you do? Fix it and move on. Hear that shit? Why is it doing that? Now it stopped. Anyway. So at least you're pretty much as far as you can see that way. And then it goes way up over that hill, another 3/4 of a mile that way. It's about, feel that deer fly that's biting me in the shoulder. About 7 square miles. Well, that's where we want to get down in there. You see that hardwoods and stuff there, buddy boy? That should be marshy and whatnot. And there should be some hogs down in there. So let's go after it. Running across a ton of hog sign. So much water, creek bottoms and whatnot in here. We can hear stuff moving way off in the distance. I mean, we don't know if it's hogs or deer, but it's a lot of fresh signs. So just a matter of time. We keep working it. We are gonna find one. We need it for the backstrap battle. What is it? Yeah, I see it. Man, it's a big track. If that's a deer, it's a huge buck. If it's a hog, probably a 300-400 pounder. Let's kill him. Yeah, you look good on that backstrap battle board. Yeah, I was wondering, because it looked like a freaking blood trail from that mud. All this white mud, and there's one coming in here. Like, where is that all coming from? Look at this. Right on that tree. They're right down in that slop. Man, there's a lot of hogs in here. We just gotta run into one. All right, update. Went hog hunting last night. Didn't see any hogs. We snuck up on deer like probably 4 times. So that was cool. We saw a bunch of deer. And this morning we went out, scouted a couple more areas, switched up a couple cams, and then we went back to the area where we were hog hunting last night and saw the deer. Because we saw the deer, hey, let's go deer hunt there, obviously. I mean, That's a no-brainer. So we're just hoofing her in there, and we spook a bunch of hogs. Go figure. And then we saw some on the south end of the lease in a creek when we were driving out of it. So they're definitely on the move. And then last night they hit two of our stands and just groups of like 30, 40 of them, and wiped out a lot of the corn. So we did that, and tomorrow morning is opener and muzzleloader, so we will be out there then, and hope we have better luck than we have been so far this season. So we'll see you in the morning. And then opening evening, we were gonna head back out, and then a storm was coming in, so we're like, well, we better not. But I'm like, buddy, that it looks like the last hour after or before dark, it's supposed to be pretty much blown over. And I said, what do you think? He said, I don't know. You know how that goes. Our luck this year, we're gonna go out there and just get soaked and whatever else. And then the way the lightning is going off and get struck by lightning and killed yet, because there's enough of that going on this year, and it's crazy. But so we didn't go. But of course, the stand we were going to go to, sure enough, half hour before it got dark, really nice 8-pointer cruising through. Easily could have made the shot, but again, that's just the way the year's been going, so deal with it. So much for the first day's evening hunt. We went out this morning, had some hogs on the creek bottom by us, tearing stuff up and making all kinds of noise, but they never showed themselves. After this storm's over with, it's supposed to be a 20-degree temp drop the next few days, so it should be good hunting. So I guess we'll just see you in the morning. Day 2, sit number 3. First evening sit, got rained out last night. Definitely cooler temperatures. Got bucks chasing does on camera, so that's good. Well, got a ways to go yet. Let's see when we get a stand. That's a deer sign. So fingers crossed. Well, just made her back to the cabin. Good night tonight. 5 dozen fawns, bunch of hogs. Dante wanted to pull down on the hogs, but I said, wait, they're a long ways away. They look like they're going to come right down in front of us. Well, they didn't, of course. That's just the way this year's been going. They dropped over the hill and they come around and then they came out, but they were long ways away, so it's my fault. But the deer are starting to move. We're going to go to a new spot in the morning, down the river bottom where we went hog hunting the other day and ran up on all those deer. And then hogs the next morning we went back in there to throw a camera up. I don't think the camera's working because I've got 0 pictures, right? And I sent, I got a check-in picture, whatever, through the app. And we had corn sitting there, and it doesn't look like there's any corn there, so I don't think the camera is working, which those Moultrie edges I'm not impressed with those whatsoever. Those are junk. So, we will see you in the morning. So we went out in the morning then, the last day. All we saw was does and fawns. And I said, it's up to you, buddy, if you want to go sit in a stand this afternoon for the last evening or take off, or what do you want to do? And he said, let's go hog hunting. So grabbed a rifle and started sneaking up the river bottom. And we weren't in there 40 acres sneaking along. Actually took us 3 hours to go just over half a mile, and then we turned around and came out because it started getting a little bit later on. But anyway, you'll see the giant boar hog right away. He just, again, it's this season. It was just, he got on it and it turned, it just, they move so much. A pig, if it's not sleeping, it's always moving. Basically, it's just constantly moving around, which are really hard to shoot with a bow. Just because of that, they're constantly feeding and moving around. But he had a rifle, and still, I just didn't get on it and then got into the brush. So we couldn't find that, or didn't get that one. We went a little ways looking for it. It was like it was across the creek and whatever. And our east boundary of the lease is 2.5-ish miles as a crow flies, but that river is probably 3.25 at least, because it's just S curves all the way, right? That is our eastern boundary of the lease. Our lease is about 6.5-ish miles square. Be it on the eastern boundary like that. We do have some land that goes across that creek. The line is right there somewhere, but I just didn't want to chance it. I'm not going to trespass on some other lease property. Granted, I know where their camp is and stuff, and they're cool guys, and they weren't there, but still, either way, I'm not going to do it without permission. So the hog was so close to that line, we're like, no, let's not try it. So we started sneaking up head north, because we had a nice north wind. Sneak up the river further. We get another 300 yards up, and I was telling Dante a story about having a ladder stand in a tree right here, and I used to bow hunt there, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, right? And all of a sudden he says, hey, hogs. And there was 2 of them right in front of us. They come out of the brush right there, and they spotted us the same time we spotted them, because their eyesight's poor, but they were so close they couldn't miss us. And Dante had just moved his hand or something to swat a mosquito, and when he was doing that, he looked away from me, and it's hogs. So they busted us right away. So we after that, we went up the river a short distance yet, like I said, and then we turned around and bailed out. So pack up our stuff to get heading out in the morning. And see him? I see him. Hey, let's sneak up to this tree up here. Be quiet. It takes us about 13 and a half hours from the lease basically to home, one way. So we left about 12:30, with stopping and whatever else. We got home about 2:30, something like that. It was a good trip. Just had a blast. I always do. I think we're gonna go down there maybe the first week of December and gun hunt, and then bring a couple barrels of bear bait, because bear season starts, I think it's like about the third week of December down there. Bait up really good, leave, come home for a couple weeks, and then go back down there just for the bear hunt, because there are some really big bear down there and really nobody hunting them because they just started the season a couple of years ago. So we'll see how that goes, but a lot of that depends upon what we do up northern Wisconsin and the UP up at camp, because we got a couple of really good deer. I shouldn't say nailed down, because you never have nailed down unless you already ran a hole through them and bled them out, but pretty good chance of scoring on these deer. So if we do early enough, yes, we'll go. But if not, the muzzleloader's still going on the first week or two of December, we might just stick around and hunt those deer, because we'd rather kill a giant deer than a big bear. Not by much, but enough to say we're staying. So hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment. If you ever hunted Arkansas or just the Deep South in general, it's definitely unique. Thanks for watching.